Okay, readers, today I want to teach you that when you are reading a poem, you can identify the narrator's or speaker's point of view. You can also explain why the story is being told from a particular point of view, and you can describe how the narrator's point of view affects how events in the poem are described. Today, we're going to do this with a poem called About Abigail. And then I have a list of questions here that we're going to go through and answer together. The poem is about Abigail. Once a little brownish snail, her name I think was Abigail, set out to roam the round world through. She took her little brown home too, as every small brown snail must do. First she crossed the garden wall, in hardly any time at all. An hour at most, or was it more, 29 or 34, well with snails, who keeps the score. How wide the world would courage fail? Was she afraid? Not Abigail. She spied a stone and reached the spot within a week, although she hurried quite a lot. But now a bush set in her way, around she crept, all night, all day. It was so nice she circled twice. Alas, a jay swooped to the grass. Oh, would he let one brown snail pass? Alarmed, our friend slid in her shell and was unharmed till all was well. And then, now where was I? Oh yes, the grass below, the sky beyond, adventure calls. And so our bold explorer crawls, and crawls, and crawls, a yawn, and slowly creeps, more yawns and a stretch, while I am falling fast asleep. So, boys and girls, the first question we want to ask ourselves is, how does the narrator's point of view affect how this story is told? Well, clearly, this is someone or something that is watching Abigail, someone that's been around for a lot of her journey. So then we're going to look at what is the purpose of the speaker of this poem. And it seems that the purpose is to share Abigail's journey, to tell us what she was going through, to tell us about her adventure, and to tell us a little bit about her determination. Next, we have, how does the narrator of the story describe Abigail's movements? And I am telling you, there's spots in here where she really is very slow. We're able to tell because at the end, in our last stanza, we see that she crawls, and crawls, and crawls, and we've got a big yawn in there, and she slowly creeps, more yawns, and a stretch. And further up, we've got this part where she says, an hour at most, or was it more, 29 or 34, well with snails, who keeps the score. So clearly many hours had passed. How might this story be different if another character had told it? And I was thinking that if it had been told from Abigail's perspective, we would be hearing the journey and seeing it through her eyes as she actually experienced it. Instead, we're hearing it through someone who is clearly watching Abigail and seeing what she's going through. And as I get to that last question, which they give me a multiple choice there, which of the following best describes the speaker of the poem? And you know, I was really looking at this and thinking that whoever is telling this story has to be someone who's been able to watch Abigail for a while. It's maybe even someone who understands about snails. She took her little brown home too, as every small brown snail must do. So I'm thinking that maybe it could be another snail who's been watching, because this narrator clearly understands the life of Abigail as a snail. And then I'm going to look finally down here at this multiple choice question that says, which of the following best describes the speaker of the poem? And I'm thinking, could it be a bird who quickly flies overpass? And I'm thinking that probably not, because a bird would fly too quickly to see and examine this little snail. Maybe the dog running through the grass around the bush. And again, that would be a character, that narrator wouldn't really have time to sit and examine our little snail. The blue jay who could eat the snail, well, I think he would have eaten the snail as opposed to examining that snail. Maybe it's another snail who is sitting quietly nearby. And that's sort of what I'm thinking as I'm reading this story, that it has to be a narrator who's able to observe and understand Abigail's journey. So today, boys and girls, you are going to set off with another poem that you are going to examine, and you're going to answer questions just like the questions we looked at together today. And I'd like you to go through each of these questions the same way I went through them with you.